Welcome back, friends. We are learning identity and security on Amazon Cloud. And here in this lecture, we're going to learn about directory service on Amazon Cloud. So let's start. It is among us different services on the cloud for security and different tools. With a directory service, you can manage Microsoft Active Directory on the AWS Cloud, allowing you to enable the directory-aware workloads and AWS resources to use managed Active Directories with the cloud. You have a managed Microsoft Active Directories, which is built on actual Active Directory on your system and does not require you to synchronize or replicate data from your existing Active Directory to the cloud. You can use standard Active Directory administrator tools and take advantage of built-in Active Directory features such as group policies, single sign-on with Microsoft AD. You can easily join EC2, RDS, or SQL Server instances to your domain and use AWS Enterprise IT applications such as Workspace with AD users and groups. You can get started with Amazon Active Directory for free or for the pay as you go. You have three options to choose from when you create an instance for AD. You have the simple AD, Active Directory, you have the Microsoft AD, and you have the AD connector to connect different ADs. There are some benefits for this thing. You have easily migrated directory aware on-premise workloads. You can easily migrate Active Directory dependent applications securely on different workloads with AWS Cloud. You have the managed Microsoft AD. You can use the group policies to manage EC2 instances and run AD independent applications with cloud without need to deploy your own AD infrastructure. You have easily extended existing domains like Chime, workspaces, management consoles, and other AWS resources. You have to use actual Microsoft Active Directory using group policy objects and different features like fine-grained password policies, Kerberos-based sign-on, and so on. You get all these services right there on Amazon. You have centrally managed application access on devices with AWS. You have a shared single directory for cloud workloads with different RDS, EC2, SQL Server, or such applications. You have simplified administration with managed services for data replication in different ability zones, monitoring and detect uh, error handling things. So how it works? First of all, you have to create AWS Directory Service where you can create a managed directory quickly. Then you can deploy or migrate your new applications. Then you can enable AWS ecosystems with RDS, EC2, SQL, Lambda, Workspace, single sign-on, and more. Then you can manage access to different users, groups, and roles to manage access to your directory-aware workloads and AWS services. And later on, you can connect with different appliances or exist with a new Active Directory with Directory Connect. There are certain use cases with this. You have to use Active Directory Group Policy Object, GPOs. You have high availability Active Directory in the AWS cloud. You have the single sign-on with Active Directory credentials. You have seamless domain join EC2 instance from multiple accounts and VPCs. There are certain use cases with working examples. Suppose we have a VPC, virtual private cloud, rightly way deployed on our AWS region, connected with a different region. We have a directory owner account and a directory consumer account. We can associate different kind of things using VPC peering and directory sharing with a directory owner account and directory consumer account. Both have AWS managed AD Active Directory. Uh, the owner have the managed account and the consumer has the shared AWS managed account. So you can share your domain share your files, utilities with different instances on the cloud. Similarly, we have different things here. Scenario, we have a DNS request which is initiated from inside the VPC for simple AD, where configuration instances for on-premise DNS domain name system could be used. We can have on-premise DNS resolver to request for on-premise resources. Then the request get fetched with VPC resources that are not cached up. So it will be sent back for the AWS AD DNS, which could be sent back for the Route 53 if it is matched for a certain domain. Uh, you can create an instance for Microsoft AD, Simple AD, or AD connector easily on the Amazon Directory Service by hitting the create simple AD, create a Microsoft AD and other options. Then you have to provide the directory details and review the settings to create a directory. You have to provide directory DNS, a net BIOS name, administrative passwords, and description, and various kind of VPC details, subnets, and other things like that. After you have provided these details and configured, you can hit to create that thing. Similarly, we can have a AD connector federation, which could be assigned with IAM roles to connect different AD users for read-only admin or S3 access. You have a write-only access permission, read and write permissions, root permissions, and different kind of access permissions. You could also set permissions like allowing different roles for different AWS services like S3, Lambda, API Gateway, or things like that. Then you have AD users login via access URL for SSL login, authentication on AD credentials. Then you have LDAP and Kerberos request proxied over the VPN. So this was a simple scenario where we have an availability zone, a resource, a Microsoft AD distributed over different availability zones. We have installed labs binaries by using EC2 instance run command. We can have the web server instance running there and the AD management instance running out there. We have the management console.msi account and connected these things. We can install LDIF schema changes directly on the AWS Microsoft AD. Then Active Directory Service could be integrated with a AWS Lambda, a CloudWatch event, which will be monitored back. We can handle these things with Workspace and bring an integrated solution with combining different AWS services. We have the public subnet, the different network groups connected with the Active Directory, either for having a public subnet or the private subnets, different availability zones. So this was about the directory service on the Amazon cloud. We can implement the secure environment or things like that uh, easily on the cloud. You don't need to migrate your instances from or to the AWS cloud. You can handle these things the way they are being managed right away. We are going to learn more about security and identity management. Till then, keep learning and keep moving ahead.